Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lepakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Wednesday, the 23rd of September. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Ireland for a day's visit. Pakistan government issues directives to organizations collecting hides after Eid. And Grand Alliance in India's eastern Bihar announces list of candidates for the polls. And now for all the details, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached Ireland on Wednesday as part of his two-nation visit. He is the first Indian Prime Minister to tour the country in almost 60 years.
During his short stay in Ireland, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks with his Irish counterpart Enda Kenny on matters of bilateral trade and increasing cooperation in various multilateral fora. The bilateral trade stood a negligible $723 million in 2014. The small European country also has an estimated 26,000 Indians or persons of Indian origin, of whom about 17,000 are Indian citizens. Over the past few years, Ireland has also become a key destination for Indian students seeking higher education. There are about 1,400 Indian students in Ireland's higher educational institutions. After completing his visit, the Indian Prime Minister will head for the US for the second leg of his tour.
India and the United States have urged Pakistan to bring the perpetrators of the 2008 Mumbai terror attack to justice. At least 166 people were killed in militant assault in India's financial capital, Mumbai. Ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the US, the two countries have also agreed to step up cooperation in fighting militancy.
Addressing the first India-US strategic and commercial dialogue in Washington on Tuesday, the two countries reiterated the threat posed by Al-Qaeda, Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, D Company and Haqqani Network and other regional groups that seek to undermine stability in South Asia. India and the US also pledged cooperation in fighting terrorism in the wake of serious threats posed by these organizations to both the countries.
We have agreed to step up our cooperation in fighting the menace of terrorism. We have recognized the threat posed by Lashkar-e-Taiba and other groups operating from safe havens in our region and the need for Pakistan to bring to justice the perpetrators of the 2008 Mumbai attacks.
The US also reiterated its support for India's membership of the four major multilateral export control regimes, including the Nuclear Suppliers Group, a multinational body tasked with reducing nuclear proliferation. The two countries also discussed maritime security and other issues.
We have renewed our joint commitment to maritime security, international law, and the peaceful resolution of disputes in the Asia-Pacific and Indian Ocean regions.
The meeting comes ahead of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States on September 24th. He would also be attending the 70th United Nations General Assembly on September 25th.
Meanwhile, in New Delhi, Indian government has cleared a $2.5 billion deal to buy military helicopters. The move is aimed at modernizing the Soviet-era military infrastructure of the country.
The Cabinet Committee on Security gave a go-ahead for the purchase of 22 Apache helicopters and 15 heavy-lifting Chinook choppers from US manufacturer Boeing on Tuesday. The Apache helicopters, which will be equipped with Hellfire missiles, are one of the most advanced multi-role combat helicopters featuring all-weather and night vision devices. The Chinook choppers are expected to replace the country's aging Mi-26 fleet and will be used for heli-lifting of heavy military equipment. The deal signed in 2013 was hanging in balance since then. It was given a push during US Defense Secretary Ashton Carter's India visit in June. Analysts felt that the move would modernize the Indian armory and strengthen bilateral defense cooperation between the two countries.
Banking sector in India, especially private banks, are seeking higher foreign investment to strengthen them. Relaxing the regulations could give a boost to the Indian economy. A report.
While higher foreign investment could breathe some life into India's banking system, that's currently easier said than done. The automatic limit on foreign direct investment in banks is currently set at 49%, although it can be increased to 74%. on a case-by-case basis. Loosening the regulations further to allow 100% foreign ownership is seen by some as a way of helping the banking sector, which is struggling with non-performing assets.
There is no logical reason why Indian banks cannot be owned 100% by foreign entities. So logically that fits in. Apart from that, if you look at the situation today the Indian entire banking sector is in, there is a significant need for recapitalization and increasing the capital, both tier 1 and tier 2 of Indian banks. There may not be so much of resources available locally.
The government has already allowed foreign investment in private lender HDFC Bank to reach 74%. Relaxing the limits further in the sector could open the door to big players in the global banking scene, and this is seen by some as a positive move.
Historically, it has been proven that participation of renowned large names in banking sector, either in the emerging markets or the developed market, is beneficial for the banking industry in the long run. A, it incentivizes good practices, and B, it increases the availability of capital, productive capital in the banking sector.
And it's not just the individual banks who could benefit. Experts believe more foreign participation in the banking sector would protect the economy from the headwinds of the currency volatility.
That definitely helps the balance of payments position, that increases the foreign currency reserves, that acts as a cushion in the event of major volatility in the currencies. So I think it fits in with the government's plan, with Prime Minister's plan, and it will definitely help the banks.
70% of the Indian banking sector is dominated by state-owned banks, which are struggling with large and growing bad debt burdens. Opening the doors to foreign investment could help ease a problem which is threatening to cast a shadow over the economy. Nidhi Rai, South Asia Newsline, Mumbai.
Staying on news from India, as the provincial election battle heats up in the country's eastern Bihar, the Grand Alliance led by Chief Minister announced its candidates for the elections on Wednesday. The crucial polls will be held in 5 phases beginning next month.
The Grand Alliance announced its list of 242 candidates in national capital New Delhi. Making the announcement, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar said the coalition has tried to give representation to all sections of society in its list of contestants. Accusing the federal ruling Bharatiya Janata Party of divisive politics, Kumar said the Grand Alliance was contesting the elections on the issue of development.
महागठबंधन इस चुनाव में विकास को ही सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा मानती है और हम लोग उसके आधार पर जाएंगे, लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी विकास की बात करती है और पूरे समाज में विभाजन की राजनीति करती है.
The Grand Alliance comprises the Janata Dal United, led by Kumar, Rashtriya Janata Dal, led by former Provincial Chief Lalu Prasad Yadav, the Janata Dal Secular, led by former Prime Minister H.D. Devegowda, and the Congress Party. The alliance suffered a jolt when Socialist Samajwadi Party, led by former Uttar Pradesh State Chief Minister Mulayam Singh Yadav, walked out in protest against the number of seats allotted to it. The Grand Alliance is pitted against the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance in the polls.
With Eid-ul-Adha, the Islamic sacrifice festival, just days away, Pakistani authorities have imposed strict restrictions on collection of hides by various organizations. Militant groups have for long used these hide collections to fund their terror activities.
Federal and provincial governments in Pakistan have issued code of conduct to outfits involved in collection of skins of sacrificial animals. According to the directives, banned outfits and those spreading sectarian violence will not be allowed to procure hides. Religious institutions and philanthropist organizations should also seek permission from district authorities for hide collection. The government has also banned door-to-door collection of animal skins by individuals and groups. Some 8 million animals, including cows, goats and camels, were sacrificed during the festival last year. This year, the number is expected to go up further. The hides of these animals are collected by various groups which sell them to tanneries. A cow hide can fetch an average price of $50 in local markets.
Medical services in Pakistan-administered Kashmir were hit badly as doctors struck work to press their demands for release of health allowance package by Pakistan government. A report.
The pathetic state of healthcare sector in Pakistan-administered Kashmir is causing discontent among locals. And the situation worsened after paramedical staff took to streets, crippling the medical services in the region. They were protesting against the government for not releasing their allowances.
जो आप देख रहे हैं ये ठाठे मारता हुआ समुंदर हेल्थ एम्प्लॉय पूरे आज़ाद कश्मीर में चाहे वो डॉक्टर्स हों पैरामेडिकल स्टाफ हों स्टाफ नर्सेज हों या दर्जा चहरम के मुलाजमीन हों वो एक ही स्लोगन के ऊपर एक ही मुतालबे के ऊपर जो है एक प्लेटफार्म में इकट्ठे हैं और वो मुतालबा है हेल्थ अलाउंस का नोटिफिकेशन जो है वो जारी नहीं हो रहा उसके इजरा तक हमने हड़ताल की कॉल दी है.
The employees threatened to stop emergency services in hospitals if their demands were not met by authorities.
अगर हमारे मुतालबात पूरे किए गए तो हम आज ही अपनी अपनी जगहों पे चले जाएंगे. हम ख़वातीन हैं, ख़वातीन इस तरह रोडों में नहीं जाती. तो अगर हमारे मुतालबात पूरे ना हुए तो हम इसी तरह से अपने एहतजाज को जारी रखेंगे.
People have for long complained of not getting basic facilities due to the corrupt administrative system in Pakistan-administered Kashmir, a region illegally annexed by Pakistan 6 decades ago.
The leadership crisis within the Afghan Taliban refuses to die down. A splinter group of the outfit has claimed that family members of former leader Mullah Omar were forced to accept Mullah Mansoor as new chief.
A week after it was claimed that family members of the deceased Taliban supremo Mullah Omar had pledged allegiance to new chief Mullah Akhtar Mansoor, it has now come to light that they were forced to do so. Afghanistan Islamic Movement Fidai Mahaz, a splinter group of the Taliban which made the new claim, also said that there was no breakthrough in resolving the leadership crisis, and reports that Mansoor was controlling the affairs of the organization were not true. The deepening rift among various Taliban groups is likely to derail the fledgling peace talks between the militia and the Afghan government. There are fears that Islamic State may consolidate its foothold in the country. Leadership crisis has hit the Taliban since July after it was confirmed that Omar died 2 years ago. Although Omar's deputy Mansoor was hastily chosen as the new chief, many top commanders of the outfit and Omar's family are opposed to his appointment.
Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has rejected a UN call for international investigation into crimes committed during the country's civil war. In a statement on Tuesday, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe said the domestic mechanism will include no international partners. This comes as the UN in its report last week asked Sri Lanka to form a hybrid special court including international judges and prosecutors to probe the war crimes. Instead, Colombo said that it would institute a domestic mechanism to launch criminal investigation into the human rights violations during the 26-year-long civil war with the Tamil rebels, in which 100,000 people were killed. Well, that's the way towards in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Ireland for a day's visit. Pakistan government issues directives to organizations collecting hides after Eid. And Grand Alliance in India's eastern Bihar announces list of candidates for polls. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.